Hey everybody, Max here, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the Tale of USAGI YOJIMBO. This is a NECA figure that is a part of their Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon theme line. Been on the market for a while. It came out several years ago. I picked this guy up at Joelanta 2025, so about a month or so ago, 6 weeks or so, and been on the lookout for him. Yeah, you can probably find him in various places on eBay and online sellers and things like that. But good luck finding him in a store now. I did pay a little more than the asking retail price when he originally came out, but when he originally came out, I wasn't really into figures. So I did find a few other Usagi figures that I've done reviews on, so feel free to check those out. I am a pretty big fan of Usagi Yojimbo. Like I said, I was introduced to the character through that cartoon, and my brother was more into the figures. I was more into the comic, but I definitely liked the idea of a samurai rabbit. Definitely thought he looked cool. And the comic is fantastic too. I have practically every issue in one form or another, and he's just a lot of fun. And I hope to someday meet Stan Sakai. That would be really cool to get some autographs and such. So, but anyway, let's dive into the figure and do what we normally do. The package is what it is, kind of very, kind of cartoonish. I mean, it's a cartoonish picture from a recreation from that. They definitely recreate the look of the figure or the character as he appeared in the cartoon in the figure, but there's also, it's very close to how he appears in the comic as well. I think the head is closer to how he appears in the comic than on the cartoon. But package is cool. I do quite like NECA's packaging of any figure because I like they have the front flap, and so you can, you see some nice artwork, and then a diorama, and then the figure in the front, and then there's also a little display image in the back. If you can take that out, you probably saw it in my thumbnail. Volume 8, I'm not sure what that means, 8 in the line perhaps, and then some pictures on the back, images from the cartoon or recreating the cartoon, and then some dioramas. So anyway, that is the package. Let's get back to the figure, and actually let's get into the accessories as we normally do. And let's see, head sculpts 2. So he has more of the stoic, I'm ready to, are you sure you want to do this kind of face? Like, you really want to fight me? And then you have the second face that's kind of like, okay, you have chosen death. Kind of, let's get some face. And then you have detachable ears. So you have ears up, which I actually prefer that look, is the ears up. And then you have ears down. And you need the ears down to wear the hat, which is also another nice accessory and different from the other releases. Paint is pretty good. Scar on over his left eye, and pretty good paint on around all around. Good texture, good sculpt work, very nice. And then this head sculpt, same thing. And they rotate around. And you got the basket hat. Let's go ahead and just take that off. There's a lot of accessories, so pretty good. Pretty sturdy plastic, it feels like. Different than something else I've seen, like other lines, but feels very solid. Good texture, good paint, good line work. The chin cord here is not rubber. There's some give to it. Just don't go crazy on it. Don't go, it's not a rubber band. It feels like plastic instead of rubber. So just be careful of that. There's a little give. There's some paint, but it's brown plastic, and it looks like it's pegged in there and glued in. So, yep, I imagine once it's ripped, it is snapped. It is snapped. So, good texture on the inside, too. Comes with a nice little Tokagi, a little dinosaur that are kind of ubiquitous to the Usagi Yojimbo cartoon. You see them everywhere. They always in the background seem to be following Usagi around. Comes with kunai dagger that is actually pretty doggone big compared to the figure, but I don't think he used it in the cartoon either, but it's definitely sturdy plastic, no flexibility, and good paint on the handle. So, and let's see, there's something else. Oh, we got a Katar, kind of a push dagger, also a bit oversized, but I'm not really complaining. It's almost a short sword compared, and good paint all the way around. So yeah, and then he has, let's see, he's got 2 gripping hands, two gesturing hands, good sculpt work on the fur, and then two fists. And it's white plastic with white paint over it. And I think maybe one of my only gripes about the figure is that the paint in it's going to flake off. And they paint the whole thing, the peg included, and that actually kind of makes it a little difficult to retain in the peg hole of the wrist, and probably because there's paint up inside it too. So I'm probably gonna just have to get it to flake off a little bit so it has a little better retention, so it's not paint on paint and more plastic on plastic, but you can tell there's little flakes coming off. And so pardon that as we continue to go through the review. Comes with a cloak that I have not tried on him. I haven't tried to get it on him yet, but I will. I will show you that at the end of the video. And it has only the hood is wired, so there's some playability with that. But stitching looks fairly solid, and the material seems really good too. Much better than some of the Hasbro and McFarlane soft goods that we have gotten. So NECA definitely does a really good job with their turtle themed lines. I don't have any of their other figures. I would like to get a RoboCop or a Predator or an Alien. Just haven't pulled the trigger on that yet. Kind of a space. I don't know where to put it. Don't know where to put it. So space is a problem. All right. So there's the cloak. And then there's also this elastic piece of material here that you can use to wrap and tie the cloak around the waist. So let's see the accessories on the figure. So we have his scabbards for both the wakizashi and katana. The katana is the longer one, the shorter one is the wakizashi, and the scabbards are joined together. It's all one piece, and there's pretty good retention. Also another piece of elastic that you can tie around his waist, and it fits hidden just underneath the waist cut, but does not hinder the waist movement at all. And it slides right in like that. And so you can wield them in the traditional way. I really wish the G.I. Joe Classified team would take note of that, because they can't seem to get swords, samurai-style swords, to be positioned properly and traditionally. So yeah, brown plastic with some yellow paint on the tips and some black border. So that is nice. And then the swords themselves, very solid plastic, not a lot of wiggle. And gold on the goldish bronzish on the hilt and the pommel there. I think that's the pommel, the end. And then brown paint with some black in the middle. So they went all out on their swords. So that slides into his wakizashi scabbard. And then his katana. Very nice. Same color scheme and paint scheme as on the wakizashi. And it fits in just like that. No peg or anything like that. It's just tied in there. So that could potentially, just be careful. I mean, it's an interesting solution to, instead of having it pegged in, they decided to let you kind of tie it. So it's more of a even more traditional of a look. The way they would tie down their swords to their side there. So that's neat. And then let's just diving into the figure. So we got that head sculpt and the ears down. And oh, didn't notice that before. Got a little bit. Oh, it's paint rub. Yep, got some paint rub from the basket hat. Oh, that's unfortunate. I've been displaying this guy with the basket on for, well, weeks now. So just now took it off. So darn, a little disappointment. The head is on a ball hinge, and like I said, well, maybe I didn't say this. These figures are kind of form or maybe function following form. So form comes first, so they're getting the look right, and then seeing where the articulation points can be. So there are some limited articulation with these figures because I would assume they want them to look more closer to the cartoon. So, and I'm okay with that for the most part. In some cases I don't. But this is an anthropomorphic character, and for the most part, there is pretty good range of motion all around. So he can look down that far. The hair and the ears kind of, I mean, you can move the ears out of the way, but the hair kind of gets in the way. So you might have to, I might have to kind of bevel out some material to get a little more range of motion looking up. But he actually already, his eyes are already looking up. So, you can have his head down like you really want this. Okay. And then good side to side and everything. The overlay, this is an overlay, his gi here. I know that's probably not what it's called, but this feels like softer plastic, and it feels solid underneath there. Let's see. Yeah, it's just kind of covering. Let's see if we add a little light here. So, yep, so it's pretty solid underneath there over kind of just a basic torso. But yeah, and the paint's good. I think NECA does a really good job on cell shading. And there's not a lot on this character. There's a few others, like say the line work here on Space USAGI. The NECA turtles, I'm going to be doing a review on those guys. Also pick those up at Joelanta, so be on the lookout. If you're going to do a USAGI, I got to have some turtles too. So don't have any turtles in the collection. So yeah, back and forth or side to side is really good. There's a little forward bend, not much. I don't think that's even designed to do that. I may be just forcing it, so I better be careful. The arms are very stiff, but he does get a T-pose. No butterfly joint. Arms go all the way around. Single jointed elbows, which, let's see, they'll let you get about 90, yeah, right at 90 degrees. So that's nice. And they have the rotation, kind of like the Black Series Star Wars. So you have that, and that's fine. Like I said, in certain cases, I dog on this. Most of the time, I dog on this, particularly Star Wars, because it just seems cheap to me. But this is one of those characters, like I said, they probably wanted to get the look down, and then added the articulation points so it doesn't break up the sculpt too much. That would be my assumption. Double jointed would probably, for this size figure, because he's about 5 inches, is it probably would just be really janky. So I'm okay with that. It makes sense for this particular character and figure. So there's the rotation at the elbow, and he gets 90 degrees. Pretty good paint work. Looks like um, blue plastic with a lighter blue paint on the front, and that is nice. And then you have the wrists, and they are vertical. I'm sorry, horizontal. God, I can never remember can't get it that right. So let's see, they pop out, and like I said, paint flecks everywhere. So that is a bit of a problem, but over time they will probably go away. So yeah, a little limited for the cuff there, trying to get him to. I mean, he can go flex out that way, but inward, it's a little bit of a problem. So yeah, the wrists are little bitty, the hands and the pegs and everything. That's a little bitty problem there, but nothing too major. And then let's see, the legs kick 90 degrees, and there's pretty good hip rotation too. So kind of like McFarlane, only better. The McFarlane hips, I think they just kind of suck, and these are much better hip rotation. You get better range of motion. So I really wish McFarlane could master this particular articulation point. And then you have the single jointed knee, and this is where there's limited articulation here because the sculpt of the pant, the upper part of the leg here, it drapes down too far, and I mean, you can kind of get it in certain ways. You can kind of, I mean, it will go all the way around if it's extended, but once you bend it, obviously it's going to do that. And this one's a little on the loose side. So Mod Podge in its future, perhaps. I don't like loose joints. Same way on the right. So you don't get 90 degrees, not quite 90 degrees on the knee joint. And then like I said, it rotates around. Single joint. The ankles, there is no, at least, yeah, there's no rotation side to side right there. So that is probably just glued in. And then the foot, nice sculpt work, white, brown plastic, white paint, brown paint, black border, turned out really well. And there is some ankle pivot, so we do get some of that. So yeah. So other than the left leg being a little on the loose side right there, this is a very solid figure. Looks great. I love it. Like I said, if you've never read a USAGI YOJIMBO comic, I highly recommend you check out the Dark Horse Omnibus collections. That's only the Dark Horse stuff. He's been with Dark Horse for a long time. I think he's with Fantagraphics is where he started, and you can get, if you don't mind paying a couple $100, you can get those hardcover or softcover collections, and those are the early adventures, and then you can get the Dark Horse stuff. Then I think he went to IDW for a while, and now he's back with Dark Horse. So yeah, really great storyline. Been around for over 40 years. And I've been waiting. I would love to see a USAGI YOJIMBO cartoon someday. I don't know what the holdup is. Maybe it's just, Stan Sakai just doesn't think it would, whoever produced it wouldn't be true to the character. It'd be Hollywoodized or something like that. But on a whole, yeah, this is a really, really great figure. I'm going to give him a warp factor of 9. And I think he's just now I think I have my USAGI YOJIMBO. I'm complete. I have Space USAGI, Samurai Armor USAGI. Now there are some new. I think they were announced last year, middle of this year, or early this year, something like that. Stan Sakai style USAGI figures and turtle figures. So you get the turtle figures as drawn by Stan Sakai, so that's pretty cool. And then a more truer, closer representation of USAGI in the style armor as well. So I'll probably pick those up whenever they are released, if they haven't been released already. Hang on just a second, and I will end the video with him in his cloak. Okay, and then here he is in his cloak, and I have to say that it turned out really well. It's easy to get on. There's enough material in the elastic that they give you that you can actually tie it fairly decently. And decided to show what he looks like with the other weapons in his hands. There is a lot of paint flecks that I'm trying to get off because there's paint inside the hands and it's getting everywhere. So other than that, minor annoyance. This is a fantastic figure, warp factor of 9. Let me know what you think in the comments section. I'll talk at you guys next time. Continue to be awesome.